Hi guys, today we're dealing with an area of the body that we tend to treat quite a lot in our clinic in a number of athletes. It's actually the lower part of the calf. The calf being an area that we get a lot of use in, whether that be running or any of the jumping sports that we tend to engage in. Now with the calf muscle, you've got primarily two components. You've got your soleus and your gastrocnemius. The soleus is the lower part of the calf, which filters in closer to the Achilles tendon, and the gastrocnemius is the bigger, more fleshy muscle that most of us would consider to be our calf. Just showing you on the skeleton here. So the main belly of the soleus is primarily down around this portion, about a third of the way up the calf. And you can see the gastrocnemius much more clearly in the upper part of the calf. Showing you on myself, the gastrocnemius being here and the soleus being primarily there. They've got similar but different functions. Now the gastrocnemius is primarily activated whenever the knee's straight, because it also serves to flex the knee. So it doesn't contract as strongly with a bent knee. The soleus tends to take over that contraction, and consequently the soleus the soleus also has an important role in stabilizing the ankle. As you can see, it's much closer to it, and consequently then is subject to a lot of overuse type syndromes and injuries. Now, with a tight soleus, what we'll commonly see in our athletes is this sort of deviation of the knee. Whenever their knee's advancing over the foot, it deviates inwards quite often, and that's to sort of take off the tension that's within that soleus. We'll also quite often see that whenever an athlete is required to have a knee straight, if they've got an excessively tight soleus, they can sometimes then, when the body's advancing over the foot, once that end of range is achieved with the knee bent, as it goes to straighten, the soleus has reached its end of range and the knee will snap back into hyperextension. Again, both of these things that I've just described can cause knee pain in our athletes, as well as sort of these sort of shin splint and compartment type syndromes down this inside border. Now, what I'm going to do is just show you two very effective and simple ways to mobilize this part of the muscle. We're going to leave the gastroc for today. So bearing in mind that the soleus is primarily activated with the knee bent, it also makes sense to stretch it with the knee bent. So just for a simple soleus stretch, you can do just advancing the knee over the foot and stretching it. I don't personally find that I get that much of a stretch on this, and it's quite taxing on my quads. So I tend to prop my foot up on something such as a stool or a chair, where I'll put my forefoot on the stool and allow my body weight to come down through the knee, pushing my ankle backwards and down. Where this stretch should be felt is just above the Achilles tendon in this portion of the muscle. Give it a try and see what you feel. But I am putting my body weight down through that shin, pushing back and down. You'll want to hold this for about, ideally 90 seconds to 2 minutes to influence change in the muscle. Okay, so give that a go. Another way of getting into the soleus, taking a slightly different tact, is to work on the muscular tightnesses and adhesions by breaking them up with either a foam roller or a lacrosse ball or a rolling pin. This is the quad baller, once again, that we used in the section about our IT band rolling. This I find wonderful for mobilizing the calves. It gives a really nice even pressure through it. Now, if you're going to get into the soleus, you want to do this about a third of the way up the calf. Not on the Achilles, guys. I see this quite often whenever I'm taking mobility classes. Take it up a little bit to about a third of the way up, just where you see the two muscles blending. Okay, so the gastroc and the soleus. This is a really common site of injury in the athletes. I guess because you've just got the fascia there connecting the two muscles, and different forces going through from the different muscles. Now if you place the foot down on the roller or the leg, you can then brace the other one over the top, which will put a little bit of weight down on that. So probably the easiest thing to use at home is a big wooden rolling pin here, guys. I don't think that you'll get as much force down through your foam roller. Now from here, side to side, okay, you can go up and down, even lifting your bottom up off the floor using your hands if you need to. Okay. Now, as you rotate the foot inwards, you might find that the inside border of the soleus is tighter. I know this is much more common than the outside, but everybody's different, so see where you're tight and try and work on that. Now again, about 2 to 3 minutes is usually enough. I would probably go for a bit longer myself, but less aggressively, maybe sat in front of the TV. Now, as you roll that out, you can find those spots that feel just much more tight. Keep the weight down on it and just start to move the foot back and forth, tacking down the tissue and then stretching the muscles underneath it. So guys, give these two exercises a go and see if that frees up a wee bit more movement at the ankle joint. We'll often see with our weightlifters that anyone who's tight in the soleus component of the calf usually struggles to get that tibial translation forwards when they're squatting, which is this movement, and they'll reach the end of range very quickly, which will then cause them to start rounding out their back rather than being able to sit down into that. So there's another important application for these exercises. Okay, so until next week, happy rolling.